manned missions to Mars might seem far off, with NASA targeting the mid to late 2030s. But in the grand scheme of things, that's just around the corner, and we have some serious hurdles to clear first. One of the biggest, space radiation. So, how bad is the radiation in space and on Mars, really? And what can we possibly do about it? When we say radiation, it can mean a lot of things. The light you're seeing right now is a type of radiation, so is the heat from a radiator. These are totally harmless, even helpful. But the radiation astronauts worry about is a different beast entirely. We're talking about space radiation that can literally strip atoms from your body, mess with your DNA, and cause serious illness, or worse. The main culprit for this dangerous radiation in our solar system is our very own star, the Sun. It's constantly blasting out a stream of highly energized particles called the solar wind. This stream is made of protons, electrons, and alpha particles. These particles are bad enough on their own, but every so often, the Sun unleashes massive explosions called solar flares and coronal mass ejections, or during ASIM, the Sun spews billions of tons of super-energized particles into space. If an unprotected astronaut were caught in the path of one, they would get very, very sick. But as bad as that sounds, it's not even the biggest radiation worry for scientists. There are even faster particles zipping through space, known as galactic cosmic rays, or GCRs. These are the remnants of incredibly powerful cosmic events that happened millions of years ago, like supernovas. They're essentially the nuclei of atoms, from hydrogen all the way up to heavy elements like uranium, and they've been accelerated to nearly the speed of light. They can punch right through a spaceship and the human body, ionizing any atoms they hit along the way. So why aren't we all zapped here on Earth? We have a couple of natural shields. First, our planet's magnetic field deflects most of the solar wind and a good chunk of those GCRs. This interaction with our upper atmosphere is what creates the beautiful auroras at the poles. Second, our magnetic field protects our atmosphere from being blown away by the Sun. And it's this thick atmosphere that stops any GCRs that do get through the magnetic field as they collide with air particles long before they reach us on the ground. So, how do we plan to protect future astronauts once they leave these natural shields behind? The first challenge is the trip to Mars itself, which will take at least 100 days. That's a long time to be exposed to space radiation. Thankfully, the structure of a spacecraft can block most of the particles from solar flares and The real problem is the high-energy waves and galactic cosmic rays that can pass right through the walls. Recent rover missions measured the radiation dose for a trip to Mars. It's about 0.66 C. To put that in perspective, it's like getting a full-body CT scan every 4 or 5 days. Area on Earth, we'd only absorb about 0.0025 sieverts in that same time. The best way to block radiation is to put a lot of mass in its way. But just making the spaceship walls thicker and heavier would make launching it incredibly expensive. So, one clever idea being tested on NASA Orion capsule is to have astronauts build a makeshift shelter during intense radiation events. They'd huddle in a small area and pile bags of supplies, like food and water, around them for extra shielding. Interestingly, the best element for blocking GCRs is hydrogen. This has led to another idea, storing the spacecraft's water supply within its walls. This would provide radiation shielding without adding extra, useless weight. Another exciting possibility is using a material called hydrogenated boron nitride NiT. It's super strong, lightweight, hit-resistant, and you guessed IT packed with hydrogen atoms. It could be used to line spacesuits or even build the entire structure of the spacecraft. More testing is needed, but it's a very promising candidate. The most sci-fi solution being explored is creating an artificial force field inside the spaceship, like a mini version of Earth's magnetic field. The technology exists, but right now, it requires way too much power to be practical for a spaceship. But who knows? By the 2030s, this could become a real option. Okay, So let's say our astronauts make it to Mars. Is the radiation situation any better there? A little, but not much. Mars has no global magnetic field and its atmosphere is incredibly thin, about 100 times thinner than Earth's. This means there's very little natural protection on the surface. Radiation exposure is estimated at about 0.64 millisieverts per day, which is just over NASA's acceptable limit for its astronauts. But the plan isn't to just leave them out in the open. A leading strategy involves sending robotic missions ahead of time to build a base. These robots could use Martian soil or regolith and 3D printing technology to construct habitats. Living under a thick layer of Martian ground would provide excellent protection from radiation, especially from those dangerous sea. And if a solar storm were headed for Mars, our fleet of sun-observing spacecraft would give astronauts plenty of warning to get safely inside. So, while space radiation is a massive challenge, it seems we have some clever workarounds. By combining these different strategies, shielded spacecraft, smart habitat design, and maybe even advanced materials or force fields, we might just be able to keep radiation levels low enough for long-term human exploration beyond Earth. What do you think? Will we ever truly conquer the challenge of space radiation? And what are our chances of one day colonizing the solar system? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.